We can never, ever, ever normalize political violence. Ever. It has to be called out everywhere. It is not a strategy. It is it's actual evidence of the breakdown of strategy, law and order. And without law and order, the republic is meaningless. I just left you with 2 warnings. The media's totalitarian streak will increase. Be very concerned about new Patriot Act type material, legislation, and be very concerned about what's happening in social media and the suppression of the town square. But these next 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, have the potential to get very ugly. And to get very ugly very fast. What do I mean? Well, here's a tweet by Ilhan Omar calling for a quickie impeachment. She's going to file articles. Ladies and gentlemen, do not scoff at this. Ilhan Omar, quote, I'm drawing up articles of impeachment. Trump should be impeached by the House of Representatives and removed from office by the U.S. Senate. We can't allow him to remain in office. It's a matter of preserving our republic, and we need to fulfill our oath. Typically, anything tweeted by Ilhan Omar, who's shown herself to be a radical, delusional leftist, you can usually disregard as the rantings of someone not exactly level-headed. But you should take this very seriously. They're terrified Trump could run again in 2024. Why do you think they would push for a quickie impeachment? Why do you think they'd do that? Maybe to close off and wall off that opportunity? Don't scoff at it. They're not going to do that. Really? These are the same people who, again, I just played entire montages, who totally dismissed political violence when they thought it would hurt them politically. But now that they think they can use it to their advantage, they're all about running through the tape with this. Here's another thing you need to be worried about in the coming weeks. And I had this conversation with someone very close yesterday, the administration. Better keep your eyes on this one. Don't dismiss it. I see some people even on the right dismissing it. There's no serious talk about this. I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. I don't trust anybody anymore. Slate, left-leaning outlet, far left. It's time for the 25th Amendment. We can't afford 2 more weeks of Trump. This is the fastest and easiest way to be rid of him. Oh, here we go just now. Facebook bans Trump's account indefinitely. I'll get to the 25th Amendment in a second. Here's one more. Rick Klein, who I know Rick from back in the day. I always thought him to be a relatively level-headed guy. Look at this tweet. This is insane. Trump will be an ex-president in 13 days. The fact is that getting rid of Trump is the easy part. Cleansing the movement he commands is going to be something else. Cleansing? We're using the term cleansing now? This is a smart guy, Rick. He's not stupid. We're using the term, we're really going down that road now? Man. Cleansing the movement? Just go to any search engine and put in cleansing the movement. Just don't have your kids look at it when you see what comes up. So a quick note on the 25th Amendment. What is it? What does it do? If the current vice president and majority of the cabinet deem the president physically or mentally unable to perform the duties of the presidency, the vice president becomes the president of the United States. It would be Pence. Say, really? That's all that has to happen? Well, it gets a little more detailed than that. The president can object, which of course he would, President Trump. If the president does object to this and say, that's not true, I am physically and mentally capable of performing my job, then the vice president and the cabinet have 4 days to transmit their request that the president be basically removed from power because he's physically and mentally unable to Congress. 2/3 of both houses of the Congress then have to vote on it. If they do, the vice president becomes the president. The president is in fact removed from power for physical and mental incapacitation. Oh, damn, we shouldn't be talking about these. These are conspiracy theories. Are they? We're in a dangerous time, folks. A really dangerous time. Here's hopefully a small positive note. Again, there's a lot of hyperbole on Twitter today and overly dramatic stuff talking about yesterday was the worst day in human history. It was bad. It was bad. Period. It was really bad. It was not the worst day in human history. We've had Pearl Harbor. We've had Antietam. It was not the worst day in human history. It was a bad day. I hope we can all learn from. And I hope there's a lot of introspection going on with everyone. But we're still the United States of America. I'm not here to give you hoorah speeches and tell you to ignore anything that happened or to just forget about, just let's let all the election abnormalities go. No, I'm not letting any of that go. We had an election with unbelievably suspect behavior, and we better damn well fix it. But it was not the worst day in American history. It wasn't even in the top 10 worst days in American history. It was a really, really awful day. But we're a great country. We have a pathway forward. I discussed it yesterday. We have states and counties within states where people actually respect the Constitution and everyone's God-given right to assemble peaceably, to defend themselves, to practice their religion. You still have those places here. And for as awful as everything was yesterday in Washington, D.C., you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I live down here in Florida. And I'm not kidding when I tell you this. My daughter came home from school and didn't even know what had happened until she saw it on the news. That didn't happen with 9/11, Antietam, Pearl Harbor. I told her what happened because I want her to learn from it too. We can never, ever, ever normalize political violence. Ever. It has to be called out everywhere. It is not a strategy. It is it's actual evidence of the breakdown of strategy, law and order. And without law and order, the republic is meaningless.
You just heard Dan Bongino.